saying that, the majority of the displaced persons have either moved to live with friends or family or other relatives. We have now close to about 8,000 plus in all the almost 20 safe havens now that we have across the 5. We have them in 5 districts out of the 8 districts. In some of the districts, we don't have any person at any of our safe havens. Example is South Town, where we have close to about 4,000 displaced persons. But all these persons are in the communities, other communities living with relative friends and other family members. So these are the people that we are working closely with committee members, assemblymen, our NADMO zonal coordinators to reach them. So we are doing the relief administration across all the 8 districts.
So let's get the numbers again. 5 districts have safe havens, which are about 20. And then there are other districts where people are living with other friends or relatives. And we have about 8,000 people in safe havens. You are saying, for example, South, what do you call it? South Town does not have anybody in a safe haven. They prefer to live with their relatives. But you still know where the people are and you are able to reach them. Is that correct?
Yes, because of how facilities are and the nature of the inundation. And because we have our assemblymen and our NADMO zonal staff, they work hand in hand to identify these people for support.
What is the typical safe haven like? If you can describe what is there and what's the average number of people at a safe haven?
Well, we have the largest safe haven is holding close to about 1,500, and the smallest is holding about 37 persons. Most of these safe havens are classroom blocks. Quite a number of schools have closed down as a result of the spillage, and we are using their facilities to hold the victims. The biggest is a secondary school, which was actually on holiday before the incident happened. That is the St. Kizito Secondary School in Mefe. Mefe has the highest number of safe havens. But my last check last night, the last one created, we had about 12 safe havens only in Mefe.
Wow.
And we have, we have about 12 safe havens only in Mefe. Most of them are in classrooms, blocks. Now, this is how the structure is like. We have them in classrooms, put them into groups, and that is even how we administer the relief. Because most of them have started doing cooking on their own now.
Is it possible to break up the safe havens that are larger? So if, for example, a church in Mefe said they were going to give you their parish, would it be possible to say the 1,500 people in, say, in Kizito, some of them should move? Are you thinking about that for now? Or for now, you are just happy that you've secured people in a safe haven and you can account for them?
Well, the latter is what we are operating with now. But we are also doing continuous assessment of the situation. If the holding area now becomes too congested, we try to work out to break them. In Adao, for instance, it's just a 4 classroom block, and we are holding close to 363 as of the last count last time. So we have already taken a decision working on breaking that number and sending them to another facility.
So what about the communities that, I'll give an example. We went to a place called Kukuntekpeji. Kukuntekpeji is in Asojaman, a fishing community. They were devastated, but because it happened earlier, they sort of left their houses and then came back. And then there's another place called Tokpo, which is near Asuchuari as well. Again, they were affected and they were just housed by a headmaster in a classroom block, which I believe is a safe haven. So my question is, for communities that have gone under the radar because the people are not that many, or because they went to stay with their neighbors, but they've not even been given media coverage, How are you hoping to account for them?
Yes, so we are working with assemblymen. We believe strongly that, all assemblymen or any assemblyman worth his salt will have some good knowledge of the people in the electoral area, so that in the case of a situation like this, it will be easier for them to identify those who have been affected. So we also have NADMO staffs in all our zones. Sometimes you have one or two NADMO staff serving about 2 or 3 electoral areas. Now they are able to gather this data and send to us. So it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
So we are meeting the electoral area or the assemblymen with the heads of agencies in the assemblies and their unit committee members, and that's how we build the list, validate it, and then send a team to administer the relief with them.
What are you giving them by way of relief?
Okay, we have food and non-food items, and now we have added medical supplies, working closely with the health directorates of the various districts. The food we try as much as possible to have a balanced ration. So we have beans, we have rice, we have gari, we have tomatoes, we have mackerel, we have oil, and these are some of the things we give out. But for the non-food items, most of the distribution is a one-off distribution. That is blankets, mosquito coil, mattresses, mosquito nets, buckets, bowls, plates, cups, and any other thing that will help their stay in those safe havens meaningful, or help them do things normally as they used to.
How are they cooking? Because a classroom block does not have cooking facilities. So how are they managing the cooking?
Most of them are cooking on the balconies or the corridors of the classroom block. You know the nature of our classroom blocks. They have normally an entrance and an exit, and there are corridors at both sides.
So how are they making fire?
Well, they use quite a lot of them are using coal pots. I even saw some using gas. One remarkable thing, or one challenge we had when moving these people to the safe haven, was that everybody wants to move their whole household items. So people move with their whole kitchen into the safe haven, some with their whole wardrobe into the safe haven. So some already have burner and cooker, and their cylinders already they have moved. So all they needed was to put fire and start cooking. Initially, it was difficult because the first 2-3 days was when we were trying to settle them. So we started with cooked food, distribution of cooked food. But after the 3rd day, when a lot of them had set up, we started distributing the dry ration, but according to groups.
You mentioned that the place with the largest number had, I think, did you say 1,500?
Yeah, close to 1,500.
And they are in a school. How are they attending nature's call?
Well, they are using the school facilities, which is also inadequate. So we had called in mobile. Is it mobile?
Mobile toilet.
Yeah, mobile toilets. Yes, 14 of them have been delivered. We are waiting to take about 8 of them.
So these 8,000 people in safe havens, what is your medium-term plan? So your immediate plan is to secure them, make sure they are safe, have food to eat, and can cook. But that's just your immediate plan. Is there a medium-term to long-term plan for these people?
Well, I think these are some of the issues that the interministerial committee is looking at. Ours at the moment is to just look at the humanitarian issues immediately as the situation is unfolding. So the medium to long-term plans, the interministerial committee is looking at that strongly. They normally call for inputs or call for reports from the ground to feed into the decisions they are going to make.
So is there okay, from the NADMO perspective, do you have enough resources to keep, so assuming they're going to be there? I spoke to VRA today, for example, and the VRA person said he thinks it will take at least 2 months to restore certain normalcy. So assuming these guys are going to be in the classroom for 2 months, do you have enough to be giving them from today till end of December?
Well, I've said that the situation is still unfolding and we are still recording more people. So nothing at this stage will be too much or enough. Because as the items come in, we are distributing. DRA is providing, government is bringing in. What has also started seriously is private individuals, companies, and other organizations, religious bodies have also started coming in. And they are also doing distribution as well. So until we are able to come to the end of this situation, I don't think that anything is enough or too much.
How are you ensuring that the efforts are not being duplicated? Because we are happy with private sector initiatives, including what we are doing. But how do you keep tabs with everything? Are you do you have a sense of what? So if somebody goes to give something at a town in, I don't know, Anglo, would you know?
Yeah, that is a challenge now. By law, how we work is through what we call a disaster management committee, which has the chairperson of the district as the chief executive, the NADMO director as the secretary, and all heads of agencies in that district. Now, the committee by law can co-opt any other member onto that committee. Ideally, all these committees should have been active and working. Then, in situations like this, those who are coming in as individuals to assist or getting people to coordinate the activities of individuals who want to come in to assist will be on the committee so that we will be able to manage the issue you just raised of duplication and all that. This morning I was having a conversation with one individual who is doing a lot of distribution, who has realized that people come to him, who collect items, people go to the MP, collect items, people come to the district assembly and collect items. What we have done is to meet with the traditional council and co-opted the traditional council on the committee. There are suggestions that we should also co-opt maybe the representation of all the political parties and other interest groups on the committee that is managing this in the various areas. And we are looking at that. At this stage, it is not completely firmed up that there may not be duplication. There will be, but we are working seriously to see how to address these issues.
I say this because apart from duplication, there was also some people who were engaged. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I spoke to Roxanne Sewonu Moses, assembly member for Agokpo electoral area in Ada. And his complaint was that whilst safe haven had been provided in Ada for people from Azizanya and some of the affected communities, the people of Agokpo Panya, Agbove, and Mutukunya had not been supported. He tried to reach his NADMO coordinator without success. He could also not reach his coordinating director. He just happened to chance upon Umaru Sanda, who then did an interview with him and then sort of put the issue out there. So I suspect that there may be small communities where, because their names are small and the people are not that many, may not have been accounted for. How are you mopping up, based on the Sewonu example that I just gave you, to ensure that communities that need help are either brought into the safe haven or at least are accounted for when it comes to distribution of food?
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of the assemblyman giving us information. But I think that the assemblyman knows the structure. Since he's already an assemblyman of the assembly, he knows the structures of the assembly. He knows if he couldn't reach his coordinating director, he could reach his DC or his NADMO director and all that. As soon as the data is captured, we will move in and help. What is happening now is that those as of safe havens have been moved from those some of those island communities you have mentioned. In Adam, for instance, we have not started distribution of items in the community, especially to those who have moved to stay with relatives and friends. And I'm sure that is what maybe Godfred is referring to. But I am sure all those in the safe haven that I can give a validation that I've been to the safe havens myself and food is being distributed. But those in the community, that has not been done yet. As before we start that one, we will certainly engage all the assemblies. And I'm sure today is Thursday. I'm sure by Saturday we might be meeting Adan. Adan East, which is the Adan part, they started a bit later. Yeah. When the water starts, it ends at Adan.
So it came much later. Yes.
Those have started feeling the effect, and we started recording the casualties before them. When they started just about 4 or 5 days ago, when their situation started. Right. So we'll certainly go to them. But we urge all assemblymen to use the assembly system to get the information to the district assembly. It will reach that certainly.
All right. My final question to you, and again, I like the way you've explained the structure at the community level, and you've also told me that some things that the government ministerial committee is doing, and you and your team are on the ground. Who is coordinating the overall relief effort? I ask this because let's assume a church in Togo wants to bring in some trucks to come and support. Is there a central station on the field where is there like a command center for the relief effort, or you've decentralized it? Do you get my question? Is there a central place where the coordinator of the relief effort has a daily record of people affected, what they've been given, what has been done by both private and public sector, so that if the president wants to know situational report at 11:59 today, 19th October, that person will answer that question?
Yes, what we had done was to quickly set up an EOC, an Emergency Operations Center, where we operate from to try and reach all the districts that were affected. There are 9 districts downstream the Vault Adam. When this started, it didn't affect all the 9 at once. Even as we speak, we have not even recorded an affected person in Adam West yet. That is the Sege area. But all the 8, right down from Sujaman, Lower Manya, North Town, Central Town, South Town, Shai Usudoku, Adanga, then Anglon at the other side of the river, we have recorded affected persons. What the coordination is done from the EOC that we have established at the North Town District Assembly. But we have holding areas too in terms of receiving items. So, for instance, if you go to Adidoma right now, which is Central Town, the District Assembly, you will see our trucks parked there with items, and some items in their assembly store. If you go to South Town right now, which is Sogakofe, we have items in their store. If you come to Ada, we have items in their store. But the release and distribution and the monitoring happens from the EOC and the center that we are coordinating from at the Assembly of North Town, which is at Bator.
We'll talk again. Thank you. We are coming on the ground. I'm sure we'll talk when I come there. Thank you. Seji Saji is the Deputy NADMO Coordinator. That's his name. Thank you.